All right. So, as we discussed in the intro, we're doing part two of our conversation about the top six cover songs.
Love it.
Again, if you missed the first episode, it's all the way back, episode 3.
The production's a little more crude than we've learned a lot.
Yeah, if you go back and listen, it's definitely, we're going to sound a little different. But really, there's no rules as far as, the way we pick these songs. Just for me personally, though, usually I'm looking for songs that where the band kind of takes an existing song and puts their own spin and makes it their own.
Yeah.
Not to say that every song that I picked has that, but that is typically my criteria for picking my favorite cover songs. That said, the very first one on my list probably doesn't really follow that. My number 6 comes to you from Drain with their cover of Good Good Things, which is originally performed by The Descendants. Like I said, they didn't necessarily reinvent this one, but they did make it their own in the sense that it works within the context of the rest of their album. If you haven't heard this one or the original, I would definitely check them both out. Pretty hard to be in a bad mood when you're listening to this song. It's just pop punk goodness. Check it out. My number 6 is Drain with Good Good Things.
Yeah, that one was fun. Had a lot of high energy, which is completely opposite of everything else on your list, actually.
Actually, yeah. I didn't think about that until you said that.
Yeah. All right, my number 6 comes from Trivium. It's I Don't Want to Be Me. Originally from Typo Negative on the 2003 album Life is Killing Me. This version was from the Sin and Sentence recording sessions, but it was released as a single in 2019. It's not on any album officially as far as I know. For the most part, it's a straight copy of the original with just Trivium tones. It's up-tempo, clean guitar work, a song that makes me just want to kind of drive fast. Lots of good memories listening to this track with our good listener, Danny, who used to work side by side with me. Trivium's I Don't Want to Be Me is my number 6.
Yeah, they did a good job with that, but it's kind of hard. Trivium doesn't really mess up cover songs, honestly.
No, they got Master of Puppets and they've done a lot of covers.
Yeah,
that are
they
really
did
good,
Losing My Religion by REM. That was really cool.
Yep.
Trivium knows their way around a cover song.
Yep.
All right, so my number 5 comes to you from Dustin Kensrue with his cover of Miley Cyrus's Wrecking Ball.
What are we doing here?
If you're not familiar with Dustin, he is the lead singer and guitarist for the post-hardcore band Thrice.
Okay.
We just talked about recently. So remember, like I said, I like covers where the artist makes the song their own. This is 100% the case with this song.
Yeah.
Dustin took this upbeat pop song and turned it into a melancholic acoustic folk song. Dustin's powerful, raspy vocals perfectly complement the moody vibe of the song overall. Honestly, it's just a beautiful rendition of a song that I previously had no desire to listen to whatsoever. It's definitely worth a listen. Don't write it off just because you don't like the original. I think this cover stands on its own. My number 5 is Dustin Kensrue with his cover of Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, I didn't recognize him by name. I had to look him up, but he's got a lot of grit to his vocal. You wouldn't even recognize it as that song if you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
My number 5 comes from Children of Bodom. It's Somebody Put Something in My Drink, which is originally a Ramones song from the 1986 album Animal Boy. This version was first released as a bonus track from 2003's Hate Crew Death Roll, but also later was released on 2009's Children of Bodom covers compilation Skeletons in the Closet, which has 17 covers on it. And I highly recommend checking out the entire album. There's covers from CCR, Sepultura, Scorpion, Slayer, Andrew WK, Kenny Rogers, Alice Cooper, Iron Maiden, Billy Idol, Poison, Suicidal Tendencies, look at your hat, and even Britney Spears. So there's a huge variety with these guys. They always put on great covers. But this one stays pretty true to the original. It just has a lot more punch behind it. It's a little bit more up-tempo, more guitars, which is to be expected from Bodom, and a more aggressive vocal from Alexi. It's a fun cover. Bodom, Somebody Put Something in My Drink is my number 5. So I went back and listened to the Ramones version. I didn't realize he actually sounds like he's sort of drunk or drugged when he does this performance.
Yeah.
So.
But I think he sounded like that most of the time.
He might have. I'm not like a Ramones fan or nothing.
But that cover is great, man. I mean, like you said, though, Children of Bodom is just...
They cover everybody. Or they did, but, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I love listening to their covers, but that's one of the best ones for sure.
It's my favorite. Probably.
So my number 4 comes from Wage War.
Hey.
That's right. I made a rhyme. You like that?
Didn't we just do a discography though? We talked about all their songs, didn't we?
Yeah, we didn't talk about this one.
Correct.
We did reference the album that it's on multiple times.
Yep.
This is a cover of Johnny Cash's Folsom Prison Blues. I initially heard this song live when Amy and I went to a VIP acoustic show at the House of Blues. And I thought it was incredible. I had never heard anyone perform the song like this. Later, they did record it for their Stripped Sessions album. And since then, I've played it many, many times.
Yeah.
There's tons of people that have covered this song, but one of the reasons that this one is my favorite version is due to the changes that they actually made to the song. So for starters, the song has drums and percussive elements, which is something that was largely absent from most of Johnny Cash's early music.
He's just straightforward,
They didn't have a drummer.
Stripped down.
Yeah,
literally.
There was no drums. Additionally, though, Cody and Britton trade off on the vocals, which adds a different dynamic because Britton has the more raspy vocals while Cody's got the more straightforward traditional style of singing. And then I think what really put it over the top was additionally where the guitar solo would normally be, they replaced it with chants of whoa, oh, and it just kind of makes it like their own thing. Don't get me wrong, I miss the guitar solo because it's one of the coolest parts of the original, but everyone does it like the original and they really put their own spin on it.
Yeah.
And also, let's be honest, Johnny Cash wasn't actually a great singer. The guy's a legend. I love him. I've got a canvas of him hanging in my living room. I listen to his music all the time, but he falls in that category of people that aren't a great singer in the traditional sense. So it was pretty interesting to be able to hear someone like Cody sing on this and really be able to like hit some notes and just kind of do some different things with it. Definitely a really cool cover. My number 4, Wage War with Folsom Prison Blues.
Yeah, I love Wage War Stripped Down. This fits in perfect. They were supposed to do a stripped set at Earth Day Birthday a couple years ago, and it got canceled. My number 4 comes from Ghost with Enter Sandman. I bet you didn't know this was originally a Metallica song, did you? From the 1991 self-titled Or Black album.
Are you telling me Ghost didn't write that song?
No
Shit.
way. Well, this version comes from the Metallica Blacklist, which is a compilations album featuring 53 covers of Black Album tracks from various artists. There are 6 covers of Enter Sandman on this album, but this one immediately jumped out because of how different it was. We're talking about one of the most recognizable songs in metal history, and Ghost flips it on its head. They completely remove the intro. They go right into the lyrics with just a piano and Papa's vocal, stripping the song all the way back. They do kick it up around the 1-minute mark, and the song becomes more of what you'd expect, but with a clear Ghost spin on it. The part where the kids normally come in gets really creepy. There's a cult-like chant coming from Ghost. Just really cool take on the classic. Ghost Enter Sandman is my number 4 cover song.
I think out of all the different interpretations on that album, like that's the coolest one. They really did something different with it.
Yeah.
And most of them did. I mean, there's some cool stuff on there, but yeah.
Theirs is so far out there, and it's so Ghost. Like they put their stamp on it. Like
yeah,
an absolute classic. That like everybody knows this song.
Yep.
And they changed
But
it up.
they don't know it the way it sounds there. That's for sure.
Completely different.
All right. So my number 3 comes from Nonpoint with their cover of Prince's song, When Doves Cry.
Hey, we got Prince on the episode.
So much like the Johnny Cash song, this is another song that I grew up with. My parents used to play it on the record, actually, on vinyl. So I was super stoked to check this out when they dropped this cover, knowing that Nonpoint is known for doing great covers. So I had high hopes, and they didn't disappoint.
In the Air Tonight, another great cover they have.
So this one starts out a lot like the original, but it gradually starts to pick up and get heavier. Most notably, when it gets to the chorus, instead of the dun, 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 instead we get, dun, 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 dun.
Like much heavier.
Yeah, so it put a heavy spin on it. It gives it a darker vibe, which is kind of cool because really the lyrics to this song are pretty dark. So I really like that. Also, Elias has a fantastic voice to pull this off. He even throws in a little bit of the high-pitched wailing that Prince is known for doing. And I think if you're a fan of the original, they stay true enough to pay respect to the original, but they change it enough to make it sound like a non-point song. And I think that's why they're good at covers. They don't pick the whole thing apart and change it, but they definitely put some non-point flavor into it.
Yeah.
So check out my number 3 pick, non-point with When Doves Cry.
I had actually never heard that cover before. I liked it a lot, but something about the beginning of it reminded me of Lion King. I don't know why. Strange. My number 3 comes from Motionless in White. It is Dragula, originally a Rob Zombie track from the iconic 1998 album Hellbilly Deluxe. This version was released in 2010 on the deluxe version of Creatures. Was a bonus track. So true story, I never heard this version until last year. Jason and Amy and I were in Scranton, the hometown of Motionless in White, and this came on while we were driving around.
Yep.
At first, it sounds very much like standard copy of the original, and then around 80 seconds in, we get some deep gutturals from Chris, and they put their own spin on it. The breakdown gets huge. It's super heavy, has a huge bounce to it. And now I actually prefer this over the Rob Zombie version. I love it.
I probably agree with that.
That's hard to do with such an iconic song, but like I don't know. There's something about this one that it just feels bigger now.
I mean, if someone's gonna do it, it's good that it was another band that was known for kind of the horror type aesthetic and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I think they,
perfect band to cover.
They handled it very delicately, and they did a good job with it for sure.
Motionless in White's Dragula is my number 3.
All right, number 2.
I know what you're doing here.
My number 2 is Betraying the Martyrs with their cover of Let It Go.
What's that from?
It's the Let It Go.
Which one?
From Frozen.
Oh, my God.
That's originally performed by Idina Menzel for the Disney movie. Anyone that has a daughter that's in their teens now is probably very familiar with this song.
Yes.
Admittedly, I already knew all the lyrics to this before Betraying the Martyrs ever released this cover. How could you not? That said, this cover made it so much more enjoyable.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate in the sense that my daughter actually ended up liking the cover, despite the fact that a large portion of it is screamed.
Mm-hmm.
But this one was in heavy rotation for us for a while because it gave us an alternative to the Disney version. So it was sort of, we found middle ground here.
There you
go. What I really like about this cover, though, is the song is still very much recognizable as what you've heard in the movie. But because they made it heavy and all of the right parts, it gives it just a little bit of a metal pop while still keeping the integrity of the song, I guess, intact. Like a lot of times you see when metal bands cover something like a Disney song or a pop song, they scream so much that they almost make the song unrecognizable and kind of takes away from some of the stuff that makes it a good song. So, but I think they did this one. They did it in all the right parts. And then we even get a bleh and a breakdown.
Yes, we do. There's actually surprisingly a lot of metal covers of this song, but this one's definitely the best.
I didn't know that, actually. Yeah, this is the only one I'm familiar with.
There's quite a few. This is the best version.
Yeah.
Who knew it would work being so heavy, though? It's pretty unrecognizable until the chorus, but that chorus is what holds it all together, as you were talking about.
Oh, for sure.
So
I mean, it's the same thing as like with the Miley Cyrus song, like a song that I could go my whole life without ever listening to again. They put this together, and now it's like it's a listenable song that I actually enjoy. So
I like when you mix pop and metal. It works very well.
It's fun. So check out for sure my number 2 pick, Betraying the Martyrs with Let It Go.
Good pick. In Flames, Wicked Game is my number 2. Originally a Chris Isaak song released back in 1989. It's a song that's been covered countless times, but this version comes from the 2018 EP Down, Wicked, and No Good, which also features covers of It's No Good and Down in a Hole and a live version of Hurt. I'm always a sucker for 80s covers by metal bands, and this immediately jumped out on the EP when I heard it. First of all, it doesn't sound anything like In Flames at all. It's very atmospheric and electronic. There's very little guitar or drum work going on here. It's built off Andrew's huge vocal and the lyrics, which dive into love, lust, and lost. Yeah, the lyric, it's strange what desire will make foolish people do. I never dreamt I'd meet somebody like you, and I never dreamed I'd lose somebody like you. I don't want to fall in love with you. It's actually a song written about somebody who called the Chris Isaac, I guess, like essentially a prostitute, just wanting a one night stand type deal. But it's, you can take the lyrics.
I did not know that
You
at
can
all.
take the lyrics and interpret them however you would like.
That's crazy, dude. Like that's one of the greatest songs ever written, I think. So to learn that it was written about something like that's kind of funny.
Basically a call girl.
I love hearing the stories behind the songs.
Yep. The Wicked Game by In Flames is my number 2 cover song.
All right.
What's number 1?
We're
Jason?
here. Number 1. I mean, what other band am I going to put at number 1? The motherfucking Deftones.
I had a feeling when you sent me the 6 songs that you were going to put on this list that Deftones would be the number 1.
I had to put this one at number 1. So the Deftones covered Drive by the Cars.
Not by Incubus?
Not by Incubus.
Oh, dang.
So this is the best cover that any band has done by the Cars. Sorry, Fear Factory. Deftones definitely one-upped you.
Who else covered the Cars?
I don't know. I only was taking a shot at Fear Factory.
Yeah, I know you don't like that one, but I like that one.
No, but I do like Fear Factory. But this is way up on my list of just best covers of all time. The original version of this song is already super sexy, but adding Chino's vocals to this, coupled with the amazing atmosphere that the band creates, makes this song a no-brainer to add to any romantic playlist you might have. Is that something that you guys do? Like, do you guys have a playlist like with baby making music on it?
There's probably a lot of Deftones on it if you do.
Yeah. But anyways,
wasn't Deftones voted like the number 1 band for stuff like that?
I'm pretty sure.
For metal and stuff? Yeah, they're up there.
But always a difficult thing to do. But in this rare example, this is the cover song has surpassed the original. If you want to hear an absolutely amazing rendition of Drive, check out my number 1 pick by the Deftones, the OG Battycore band.
It's true. It's true.
What do you got for number 1, Justin?
All right, so for my number 1, I have Machine Head with Witch Hunt. I want to say Machine Head was my number 1 on the previous episode too with Hallowed Be Thy Name. They do some really, really great covers if you're not familiar.
And Deftones might have also been my number. No,
they were on there. I'm pretty sure they were.
But my there's definitely parallels to my list because Deftones was on the list.
I feel like I had Trivium on there too with Master of Puppets. So
my number 1 was a cover of Johnny Cash.
So yeah, not to get sidetracked, but I absolutely love covers. I have almost 400 tracks on a cover list, and these are just 6 cool ones to talk about today. You ask me tomorrow, they might be 6 completely different songs.
Yeah.
But yeah, Machine Head's Witch Hunt is my number 1 for this list. It was originally released by Rush in 1981 on the album Moving Pictures. This version comes from the 2011 album Unto the Locust. It's a bonus track on the special edition, which also features a really cool cover of Judas Priest's The Sentinel. So check that one out too. This is led by Rob's vocal, creating a haunting atmosphere. Dave McClain is dynamic on the drums, and I guess that's to be expected when you're covering Neil Peart. It's impressively done. Dave definitely holds his own here. Overall, it stays very true to the original, just eliminating the symphonic elements and creating more of a meaty sound. Witch Hunt by Machine Head is my number 1 cover for Volume 2 for now.
Yep. This will definitely be a topic that we revisit.
Yeah.
Because as Justin said, there's just so many good covers to talk about. So make sure you weigh in. Let us know what some of your favorite covers are.
Let us know why it's a painted black cover, probably.
But yeah, maybe you got some suggestions for stuff that we haven't heard yet, because I love hearing a good cover song. So let us know what your suggestions are.
I love covers too. As I said, I have it's like close to 400 songs on that playlist, and I'm constantly adding. I added more this week with that Deftones track I hadn't heard before, and I had the Non-Point I hadn't heard before. I threw that on there too. So
nice. Well, there you have it. There's 12 of our favorite cover songs. Let us know what yours are.